The school bell in the old high school rung like it does every night at 12, but nobody knows who rings it. Nobody knows why either. Some say that the bells are rung to call all the spirits to the school, but that might just be part of an urban legend. I don't know why the bell rings, but I do know who or what it is that rings it. But to be honest, I wish I didn't know. I wish I was just like everybody else who is left to wonder every night at 12, who is ringing that bell? Some people in the town believe that it was haunted by the spirits of the teens who were killed in the school back in 1972. Some say they heard whispers as they walked by, and some say they've seen people staring at them through the window. Nobody was ever brave enough to spend over an hour in the school. The longest anybody had ever spent was 45 minutes, and that was during the daylight. But myself and my partner, Charlie, had agreed to spend an entire night in the school for a web show, Ghost Seekers. We gathered all of our equipment, flashlights, cameras, and everything else we used for our ghost seeking. I was up for the challenge. But deep down inside, I was secretly afraid, and I know that Charlie was as well. I wish we knew what we were getting into. "Hello?" Charlie yelled, his voice echoing through the school. We had our cameras on record and our flashlights on our right hand as we walked through the halls of the abandoned school. Everything was calm for the first 15 minutes, until we heard the sound of a locker closing. The sound echoed throughout the building. Every sound pretty much had an echo to it. We decided to follow the sound down the hall where the old gym was. According to research, 8 students were killed in the gym, and we thought that would be a good place to start. When we entered the gym, we could immediately feel that something was in there. We didn't need our EMF to be sure. The air was cold, and the sound of our walkies were nothing but static. Something was interfering with the signal. We had at least some light from the moon that shined through the large windows, so it wasn't completely dark. As we were walking through the gym, the bell tower went off. It must have been midnight. I saw the bell tower through the gym windows, and at the time, I thought maybe I was imagining things, because I saw someone up there. It was a silhouette of what appeared to be a man. I shook it off and continued what I was doing. Despite the obvious fact of a presence, we weren't getting much activity in the gym. No whispers, no footsteps, nothing. It wasn't until we were heading out that something had happened. A basketball suddenly came rolling towards us from the back of the room, an area where the light wasn't shining. It was an old, dusty ball, and I admit, it had me feeling really uneasy about the situation. I was a veteran at ghost hunting, but I'd never experienced something like that. It wasn't much, though, compared to what happened next. We were walking through the halls of the second floor when I noticed something weird about one of the rooms. I looked through the rectangular glass and I noticed some computers were on. It was strange because there was no power in the school. As I continued looking, I was startled by sudden darkness that covered my view. It was just completely dark, as if someone or something were blocking it off. "Aye, mate," I said to Charlie. "There's something in there." "No way there is," Charlie said before looking through the glass himself. We were both shocked, and all we ever saw were dark shadows in the footage we caught. But this wasn't a shadow. This was something more sinister. According to our research, this was the room where the killer shot himself. When I looked back inside the room, the computers were off, and whoever was standing in front of the door was gone. We were standing there for a minute, and I was ready to make a run for the door, but Charlie kept me from doing so. I wish we hadn't. We continued walking through the halls. By this time, we were hearing all kinds of noises echoing throughout the school. We heard footsteps, lockers opening and closing, and we heard flash crash noises that sounded as if something was being thrown. It seemed like the more we stayed there, the weirder things would get. Charlie thought if we split up, we'd be able to get more footage faster. The more footage we get, the less time we'll have to spend in here, he claimed. Though I agreed with him, I didn't think it was worth it. Not unless I found myself wandering the halls alone. "See anything weird yet, Stella?" Charlie asked through his walkie-talkie. Thankfully, I wasn't hearing or seeing anything strange. I kept walking the halls. My flashlight suddenly started flickering. The batteries were just put in there. There was no way it could have been dying, but it did, and I found myself alone in the dark. Or maybe I wasn't alone. "My bloody flashlight died," I said in my walkie. No reply. "Charlie, are you there?" Static. Nothing but static. I could hear someone trying to say something. "He's behind you," whispers from the walkie. I turned around, but I didn't see or hear anything. A minute or two later, I heard a scream that echoed through the halls. It was Charlie. I didn't know what to do. I screamed his name. I called him over the walkie-talkie, but got no answer. I froze in fear, and I didn't move until I heard a voice echoing through the halls. It sounded as if they were far away, like on the other side of the school. "Stella! Where are you?" "I'm over here," I yell. "I can't see me!" I start walking, and then suddenly, I was grabbed and pulled into the corner. I was screaming, trying to fight back, until I realized it was Charlie. "Don't do that," I yelled. "I heard you calling me. Why didn't you answer back?" He had a strange look on his face. I could see in his eyes how terrified he was. "That wasn't me," he said. "I never called you." We decided that the fame, ratings, or any of that stuff was no longer worth it. We replaced the batteries on our flashlights and walked back to the front entrance. We reached it minutes later, but it wouldn't open. The door was locked. We kicked, punched, rammed it with our shoulders, but it wouldn't open. We were trapped, and we realized there was probably no way out. Somebody or something didn't want us to leave, so we decided to stay put. I woke about 30 minutes later. I looked around. Charlie wasn't anywhere in sight. "Charlie," I whispered in my walkie, "where the bloody hell are you?" No answer. Just static. I stood on my feet and noticed someone at the end of the hall. They were just standing there, about 50 feet away. "Charlie, is that you, mate?" I started to walk slowly toward whoever it was. As I got closer, I realized it wasn't Charlie at all. They were just staring at me. Probably staring at me the whole time I was asleep, the whole time I was slowly walking toward it. Their eyes were dark, and I saw the evil within. The head tilted sideways as they continued to stare. I didn't understand what it was that I was looking at. I'd never seen a spirit so real before. But they weren't just a spirit. They were a demon. "Run!" something from my walkie yelled, and it most certainly wasn't Charlie. I ran. Didn't know where I was running to. I just ran and I didn't look back. I ran in the classroom on the other side of school, and I locked the door, knowing that if whatever it was just a spirit, a locked door wouldn't stop it, but it made sense at the time. I stayed in there 10 minutes. It was dark, and I didn't know whether or not someone else was in the room with me. "Stella! Stella, it's me!" It was coming from the walkie. "Where the bloody hell are you, Charlie?" I don't know. I woke up in some room." "What room?" "Where are you, mate?" I could hear him weeping through the walkie. "Stella, I'm scared," he cried. I started tearing up myself. I never heard him cry like that before. I've known him since we were 14, and I never heard that. "It'll be okay, Charlie. We'll be okay," I cried, hoping it was right. He was weeping uncontrollably. I knew that something was wrong. "You don't understand, mate," he cried. Look to the corner of the room. I lifted my flashlight. I didn't understand what the hell was going on. I pointed it to the corner, and I literally froze in fear. I dropped the walkie to the floor. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't. He was dead. Charlie was dead. "I'm sorry, mate." That was the last I ever spoke to him. I don't understand how he died. The only thing I thought was that my friend of 20 years is gone, and I didn't know what to do next. I thought about it and realized it must have happened when we split up. His scream. I kept thinking about his scream. I stayed there until the daylight came back and called the police. Tried telling them the truth, and they never believed me. Now I can't go anywhere without feeling like I'm being watched. I was traumatized, still am. I saw what could never be unseen, and no matter how many hours of therapy I go through, I will never be the same person I was before. I wonder if anyone has ever seen Charlie through the windows, or even heard his whispers as they walked by. If they had, I hope they weren't scared, because he was a great guy. I don't think I'll ever forget what happened in that school. I'll never forget the sound of that bell, and I would never forget the demonic face of the thing that rings it. I could see him now, standing up on that bell tower, waiting for midnight, and waiting for his next victim.